The paper of the day is H2O, a hands-free adaptive store. It's a 2014 paper. In this paper, authors showcase the problem that for analytical queries, multiple layouts can be beneficial depending on the query workload. To get the optimal performance, they not only need the optimal layout, but also query processing strategies and accessor operator code that are tailored for a given layout. All these together reduce cache misses, instruction misses, and interpretation overhead during query execution. Authors propose H2O, a system that adaptively and continuously adjusts all three of these elements. It generates on the fly the appropriate layout, execution strategies, and code to match the workload as the workload evolves. Using both synthetic benchmarks and the real-life experiments, they demonstrate that H2O gracefully adapts as workloads change and stays close to the optimal performance without requiring any workload knowledge. The paper examines how H2O performs in comparison with approaches that use a static data layout advisor. They use both fine-tuned micro benchmarks and the real-life workload SDSS from the Sky Server project. Micro benchmark. Here they compare H2O against a column store implementation and a row store implementation. H2O using real workload. In this experiment, they evaluate H2O using the Sky Server workload. They test against a scenario where they use AutoPart, an offline physical design tool for vertical partitioning, in order to get the best possible physical design recommendation. For the experiment, they use a subset of the photo object all table, which is the most commonly used, and 250 of the Sky Server queries. Now let's look at the contributions of the paper. The paper shows that fixed data layout approaches can be suboptimal for the challenges of dynamic workloads. The adaptive data layouts, along with the hybrid query execution strategies, can provide an always tuned system even when the workload changes. It discusses in detail lightweight techniques for making on-the-fly decisions regarding a good storage layout based on the query patterns, for refining the actual data layouts, and for compiling on the fly the necessary operators to provide good access patterns and plans. They show that for dynamic workloads, H2O can outperform solutions based on static data layouts. Now let's give this paper a PS score. Overall, it's a nice read, but for the code part, so it gets 7 out of 10 on readability. With 12 pages long, it scores 9 out of 10 on length. Reproducibility and repeatability shouldn't be too challenging, but the approach seems outdated, so it gets 7 out of 10. Industry value is questionable, and I'm not sure whether any production system uses H2O style adaptive store, so it gets 5 out of 10. Learning meter is decent and it explores some good ideas related to adaptive store, so it gets 5 out of 10. Overall PS score is 7 out of 10.